My name's Matthew Allan. Terribly sorry about the problem that's just occurred then. However, it looks like we've now fixed it. Okay, tonight we're going to be going through the rapid takeoff and estimating kit. Now, what that's going to entail is me tracing over a set of drawings, something that you would actually be given from an architect, all right? And then through that process, I'm going to be putting it into Estimator Express, and then we're going to be able to get a live price from that, all right? So just going through the agenda, okay? So again, going over Plans Express, the import into Estimator Express. I'll show you the demonstration of the software, and then we can have a few questions at the end, okay? Going from there, what does Plans Express give you? All right, so you're going to be able to trace over existing plans, either scanned or imported into a range of formats. Not only that, but you are going to be able to draw your own plans up yourself as well. So you can become a more design and build business. Okay, you can also easily drag and drop walls, windows, doors, and other features. Okay, and this is a drag and drop worksheet, so it's going to be a very easy process to comprehend after you've done it 3 or 4 times. Okay, and during this as well, you're going to be able to see a visual representation of it being built up in front of you as well. So you're going to be able to see on the right hand side or in the center of the screen how your extension, how the new build house is going to start looking. Okay, and at the very end, you're going to be able to save it into AutoCAD, SketchUp, DWG, PDF, JPEG. Okay, it's entirely up to you how you want to save it. All right, going from Plans Express and going into Estimator Express, we're going to be able to import the plans into Estimator Express and almost instantly view the breakdowns of the already drawn up job. Okay, and cost it all up. It's going to give you a schedule of work to maximize efficiency. Okay, to tell you how long the job's going to take. And within that, you're going to be able to manipulate the software to be able to create you a more personalized quote, something that's going to be generated very quickly to save you a lot of time. Okay. Then going from there, what we're going to be doing is going to be looking at the quick quote plugin. Okay, so I'm going to be able to add in another section of a job that I'm just going to create off the top of my head, potentially a porch or something like that to the front of the house, just so you can see how fast it can work. But this can only be done with anything from roof, wall finishes, okay, to renovations, refurbs as well, okay. And then you can start, as it says at the bottom, tweak the dimensions and spec, and then you can create the estimate, which is quite handy. Okay, and then for now, the demonstration of the rapid takeoff kit. Okay. So first off, what we want to be doing is going into Plans Express. Now, when you open Plans Express, it's going to give you a small box like this. It's going to ask you the scale you're going to be taking off from. Okay, whether it's a 1 to 50, 1 to 100, a 3, 1 to 50, a 4, and it goes up. Okay, it also asks if you're going to be doing, saying electric templates or plumbing templates as well. Okay. Now, the PDF that I'm going to be tracing off of is going to be an A1 1 to 50. Okay, so I can select that one from the very beginning. However, if you have something that's going to be a little bit more creative from your architect, something a little bit more elaborate, you've got this blue tab at the bottom of the screen, okay, that you can just click once, and this box is going to come up. So you can change the actual shape of the page from a landscape to a portrait if you wanted to. You can change it from a scale of 1 to 50, even going the opposite way as well. You can go 50 to 1, okay? It's entirely up to you how you need it to look. Now, with any particular software package, you would probably go into the top left-hand corner and open up a new job. Well, with this software, it's not the case, because with a PDF or a JPEG bitmap, it's pulling in an image, not information that the software understands. Okay, terribly sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Drawing and Annotation tab up here, and then we've got the image button just beneath it. Okay, and with that image button, we can start trying to find our PDF. Now I know mine is going to be under PDFs. Nope. And then I'm just going to go with a basic demonstration, and I have my PDF there. Okay. Now once I've selected the PDF, the software is going to ask me whether it's going to be the correct one by just giving me an image. Okay, so I'm just going to do this simple lean-to extension. Okay, nothing that's going to take up too much time. Once I'm happy with that, I can click OK. And then the software is going to tell me what to do next, and it tells me that down here in the command window. So it's going to ask me to give the first corner point. This is going to be the bottom left. Now the software does use a snapping tool, so I can start hovering my mouse just around the corners, and it will then start snapping to it. Okay, as you can see, I've got a nice little box down at the bottom there. And once I've clicked that, what I can do is I can drag that image all the way to the top so it fits nice and perfectly. Click it in place, and now I've got my PDF on screen and I can start taking off. Okay, so it does require you to do a very do the very thing of just bringing in the image, okay, and you are going to have to trace over it. Now, to make sure that I've got the correct scale, I'm going to find just a simple dimension on the software, okay. I've got this 1800 one here, and I want to make sure that this is going to be 1800 on my PDF, otherwise I'm going to be scaling off incorrectly. And to do that, we go up to the top where it says a linear dimension tool. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, however, for me, I just like to make sure. Okay, so I can click the linear dimension, I can find the line here, and then what I can also do is I can make this, it's going to be longer if I start moving it up or down, but if I hold the shift button, that becomes dead straight. Okay, I can't mess that up anymore. And then I'll find out what this line is, and it's telling me that I'm 1 millimeter out. Okay, and 1 millimeter over the grand scheme of an entire job, that's not going to be a lot missed. Okay, so I know this is going to be the correct scale. Now, rule of thumb with software, we use construction lines, okay, because it's going to make your life a whole lot easier and it's going to allow you to be a whole lot faster as well. Okay, now the construction lines you can still find up in the middle. It's got a nice little heading there. Okay, and you've got the likes of horizontal, vertical, angular, tangent, perpendicular, and circular as well for those more intricate jobs, because we all know the world isn't square, unfortunately. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop in some construction lines so I can start snapping to the corners very quickly. And I'm going to go to the outer side of the house as well. And the reason behind this is because I'm going to need to build that wall here first off, okay? Because we want to build off on some, we need to build onto something. So I'm just going to scroll down. It's very handy if you have a mouse with a wheel as well, because the moment you have that wheel in place, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can just grab the map and you can go around any way you like. Okay, it will make you very efficient with the software. And then this bottom one here. And then I'll just pop in some vertical ones. Just pop those lines in, and that makes my day a whole lot easier. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that first wall in place, and I'm going to make sure that it's going to be set as non-estimated. Okay, so what I can do is I can generate any wall that I want, okay, by just going into the architectural tab. Now, if you've looked at Estimator Express in the past, this is going to look quite similar. Okay, so I know this is going to be a brick and block cavity wall. Okay, so I can just hit that down button and I can select brick and block cavity wall. For when you're actually doing your drawings and your dimensions and your designs, you can actually put in the likes of brick and SIP, brick and ICF, external cavity wall, so that's block and block. Okay, stone cavity wall. You've got your wall cladding. You've even got the luxury of putting in for timber frame as well. Okay, you've got your garden walls, your slipper walls, and such, and so on. Okay, but brick and block cavity wall for the now, and I'm just going to put it as 2.4 meters high. Okay, once I've selected that, it's just going to give me the dimensions that I need. Okay, now I can change the height of this wall here. If I wanted to change that to 2.5 meters high, I can. It's entirely up to me. Okay, but if I deleted this dot, it's going to tell me that that wall is going to be 2,400 meters high, and that's going to be a bit of a mistake. So the software will tell you when you have made a bit of a clanger. Okay, so you've got that in place there. It's not going to ask for the length because I'm going to be drawing that in. All right, like we said, it's drag and drop. Now, you've got the thickness of the walls as well. So the external leaf and the internal leaf. I can turn on tech tips and tech labels. What this means is not teaching you how to suck eggs, but if I just click those there, every time I click a box, the information tells me exactly what I'm going to be changing. Okay, it's very handy to know the first couple of times having that on. Before you know it, it's going to become second nature for when you're going through the software. All right. Clicking next, it's then just going to ask me about the foundation details, which for this wall, I don't need to worry about. Remember, again, it's going to be non-estimated. It's just going to be in there as a wall to build off of. Okay, but we will see this again when we start doing our actual walls, so it's not bad going through it now. Okay, so you've got the thickness, the width of the foundation, okay, and the depth of the foundation. We've been building this software up for the last 17, 18 years, so you've got the likes of building reg standard in there, so a lot of it's going to be the same. Okay, you've also got the luxury of being able to choose whether it's going to be structural concrete thickness or mass concrete thickness. So if you're going to be piling it in and you're putting 500 in there, that's absolutely fine. All you've got to do is just delete the the 0.400 there. Okay, and then it goes on to plank and strut excavation. Okay, is it going to be supported, and what is the bulking factor of the excavated material? Okay, we've got that at 1.5 because I'm presuming it's going to be coming out of soil. Now, the reason it's asking for all of this information is so it can start calculating when we're taking it into Estimator Express. But again, remember, this is the wall that's going to be non-estimated. Then we've got the footing details. Okay, so the splash course depth, the brickwork depth below splash course, the height of the blockwork to the outer leaf, the cavity width, the cavity fill depth below top of DPC, height of blockwork to the inner leaf, height of the trench blocks, and then is the main wall going to be insulated, yes or no, and is there a separate DPC, yes or no. Now, if I wanted to change that to no, all I've got to do is just delete the Y and put in an N, okay? And last but not least, the plastering and the decoration. Okay, are you going to be plastering? Are you going to be decorating? Okay, you may just do the entire job and then leave the client to actually do the plaster, well, the painting at the very end. So you can say yes to the plastering, but you can say no to the decorating. Okay, it's entirely up to you how you want it to go. And then I can hit finish. Again, as we can see, I've got no walls. Okay, but what I can do is I can just click down at the bottom here. Okay. Oh. And I can start bringing my wall in. Now, as we can see, the wall's on the wrong side. So what I can do is I can just go up to the top here, where it says justification and external side. Okay, and with that, if I just change that justification to the right, it's now in the right place. And that arrow pointing out, okay, that is the external wall. Okay, so I'm just going to drag that all the way down to the bottom. Right click to get rid of that wall. Okay, now I can view it in 3D if I wanted to. I can just drag this little image here. And what we've got from the very beginning, okay, is the wall we're going to be building off of. All right, so we have that in place. Right now, if I were to take this into Estimator Express, it would cost us up. So I'll show you how to make something non-estimated. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to highlight the wall. Okay, I'm going to select that there. And then I'm going to go to Modify and Selection. Okay, so as you can see, it started to be hashed. If I go Set Selection as Non-Estimated, I've now got that wall in there, but as you can see, the red lines have gone. It's just filling that in for me. Okay, which is quite handy. Everything else I build after this is going to be estimated. Now, starting on the actual walls themselves, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the external wall, and then I'm going to find the relevant wall that I'm going to be building, which is in fact going to be a brick and block cavity wall, and I'm going to use it as 2.4 meters high. Okay, and going through the process we've just went through, but not to teach you how to suck eggs again. All right, we've got the height, external leaf thickness, internal leaf thickness. We've got those tech tips and tech labels, the foundation details, the footing details, and the plastering and decoration details. Once I've hit finish, I can just click my internal wall, and I can start going around my corners. Okay, and as I said, we use a snapping tool here, so all I've got to do is just hover my mouse over the corner, and the software's going to do the rest for me. Okay, and now if I look at my view in 3D, I've now got my external walls. Now, we're not going to see this for a little while now, only because I'm going to make it look a little bit more interesting for when we've actually got some more internal bits and pieces going on. So I'm going to drop in the floor slab now. So I'm going to go to architectural again, and this is where you're going to find all your estimating platforms. Okay, so I'm just going to go along, find flooring, hit the drop down box, and it's going to give me a list of jobs I can start estimating for. Okay, and start drawing in as well. Now we're going to go with the floor slab here, halfway down, and then I can start going into the extension slab, and I can choose whether it's going to be unreinforced or reinforced. So with reinforced, show my tech tips and tech labels again. It's going to ask for the thickness of the sand blinding, the thickness of the subbase, the overall thickness of the slab. Is there a damp-proof membrane? Yes, there is. What's the overlap of the damp-proof membrane? Usually 0.5 meter. Insulation to the underside of the slab? Yes. Reinforcement to the bottom of the slab? Yes. Is there reinforcement to the top? And is it power float finished? Yes, it is. Okay. Once I'm happy with that, I can click next. And then we've got a table here with nothing but zeros. Okay. Now I can physically put this detail and this data in myself. Okay, saying how many days it's going to take to use the compactor, how many days I'm going to be using a wheelbarrow and a shovel. The reason why it's bringing those in there is because sooner or later somebody's going to break a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and that should be paid for. Okay, not just out of your pocket. That should be a business expense. But the software will generate a number for that. Okay, right now it doesn't know how big the actual floor slab is going to be, so that's why it's all zeroed out. So if I hit finish, I can then start following the command windows, which is telling me give the first corner of the floor, give the second corner, and then I can start just dragging this floor slab down. And as you saw, it just snapped to that line nice and fast for me. And do I want to place a perimeter of insulation around the slab? Yes, I do. It's just going to ask me the depth of the perimeter. Once I've hit finish, I can just start clicking around the corners. Okay. So now I've got the insulation around the external side of my slab. I'm going to pop in these doors and this internal wall. So first off, I want to do the internal wall. I know it's not going to be a cavity block wall or a block wall. I'm going to use a metal stud partition. Okay. Make sure that it's 2.4 meters high. And then it's just going to ask me for the height and then the studding centers. Okay. It's not asking me about distances in the wall for the actual door yet because I haven't dropped a door in yet. So it will automatically calculate that for you. Okay. And then you've got the width of the wall. Does the door opening require any timber stud frames? Yes, it does. Okay, is it going to be insulated? Yes, it is. And then the allowance for screws and fixings per meter square. So saying per meter square, you're going to be using £2. You can change that to whatever you like. You can say a £5. It's entirely up to you. Okay. Then are you going to be plastering and decorating both sides? Yes, I am. Once I'm happy with that, I can just click my wall in. And now I've got my internal wall. So if I wanted to have a look at it now, what I would see is the floor and the internal wall. But first off, I want to just drop in these doors, and then we can start looking at what the 3D image actually looks like. Okay, so doors up the top. We've got everything from your crystal direct doors, so specific doors, to external, internal, commercial doors as well. We've got fire doors as well. Okay, it's entirely up to you what you need, depending on whether you're going to be doing apartment blocks or anything like that. Okay, but I'm going to be using a typical panel door for the now. And I know it's going to be an 864 door into studding because I've got my studding there. Click that, and then it's going to ask me about the height and the width of the door. Okay. It can ask me about my fixing details. Okay, so if it's going to be built into a wall, it's going to be going into the lintel details. Okay, you've also got the casing fixing centers, threshold board fixing centers as well. The reveal and jam details. The plastering and threshold details for when you start decorating. And then the decoration specification as well. Is there going to be, is it going to be primed? Is it going to be decorated? And so on. Okay. And once you're happy with that, you can click finish. And all I've got to do is just zoom in and drop my door in place. And I can have that swing which way I want. Okay. So I can do that for my studying. And then if I go to architectural again, and go internal doors, typical doors, and go into my blockwork doors, it's going to ask me the exact same question again. It's going to pull in more information about the lintels. But again, height and width, reveal and jam details, plastering and threshold details, and decoration specification. The luxury that you have is that the moment you've got those 4 pages sussed and how they work, okay, that's what works with every door and every window within our software. Okay, it asks you the same questions because they realize and we understand that they are very similar beasts within the building game. Okay, so if I hit finish, I can then drop my 2 doors in there. So first off, I'm just gonna click this one up here, have that swinging inwards, and then I can click that in there as well, and I can have that clicking and swinging that way. Okay, now to see the view in 3D, so I'll just click there, go to my 3D preview, and then what we can start seeing is the makeup of what we've got going on here. Okay, nice and easy. What I'm going to do now is drop in a patio door, a window, okay, and then I'm going to stick the roof on, and you can start seeing how it looks. Okay, so first off, that patio door, architectural, go to my doors. Okay, and I go to my patio door, and I know it's going to be a 1800 mil door because I've got my dimension in there already. And again, it's going to ask me the details about the lintel, sill protection at each end as well. Yes. Is there a separate vertical DPC? Yes, there is. The reveal and jam details, the plastering and threshold details. Are they going to be plastered? Is the sill to be plastered? Yes or no? Most likely not. Is there an internal threshold board? Yes, there is. Okay, and so on. And then last but not least, the decoration specification. Okay, it's asking whether you need that door to be painted, but most likely not. It's going to be a patio door. Okay, it's already got that finish on it already. Okay, but once I've hit finish, I can drop that door in there. I can even zoom in and start seeing which way I want it to slide as well, which is quite handy. Going down to the window, I can go for a PVC I can go for a softwood. Okay, sash window, it's entirely up to me what I want it to look like. So if I were to choose softwood this time, and I'll say 1200 deep, and it's a 18 by 1200 wall. Okay, so just making sure that it's going to be the right height, up, width, and height of the actual window. I've got the fixing details as well, the reveal and jam details, plastering and seal details, and the decoration specification. And once I'm happy with that, I can pop that window in there. All right, so now I've got my window and back door on there. Last thing I want to do is drop the roof on. Now, hopefully you haven't been too daunted by how it works. You can see the processes that we use, okay, and they're very similar the moment you start using more and more of the actual software. Now, a roof, this is a different kind of beast, okay, because what the software is going to do, it seems it doesn't understand the shape that you're actually building already. It doesn't know there's going to be a lean-to roof yet. What the software is going to ask is how to build specific roofs, okay? You get the choice between a cut and a truss roof, as you'll see now, okay? So I've got my cut or truss roof. I've also got my flat roof in there, okay? But what I can do is with my cut roof, it's going to ask me about the typical degree and the pitch of my roof. So I'm going to choose 40 degrees this time. However, the software is then going to start asking me how to build specific kind of roofs, so I can just start placing roofs on the building, okay? So I can put in a roof just like this, okay? A lean-to, barn hip as well, if I wanted to, okay? An apex roof as well, okay? It's entirely up to me. So the software is going to ask about the degrees of the pitch. I can change those if I wanted to say 37. It's entirely up to me. It's going to ask if there were to be a barn hip. what would the lift be? Okay, so a meter high, and then the thickness of the roof as well. Then we're going to go into the first part of the roof structure. Okay, so the soffit width of gables, the soffit width to the eaves as well. We can go into the timber and the roof strap details. Okay, so you can start seeing the spacing of the joist noggins, the gable straps at joist level centers, the wall plate strap fixing centers, the length of the gable noggins, and so on, such as the gable straps as well. Okay. Then we go next, and then it's going to ask us about the second part. Okay, so the rafter centers, the joist centers, the length of each hip corner tie. Are there barge boards to the gables? Yes, there will be. Height of the barge board, and are there eave fascia boards as well? Yes, and what are the height of those? Okay, you can even go into the guttering detail as well. So the guttering clip fixing centers, and what is the length of guttering that you're going to be given? For this time, I can just say maybe 8 meters. Okay. Then you go into the tiling and insulation information. Okay, it's not going to ask you for the material right now. You do that with an Estimator Express. It's just going to ask you whether there is going to be insulation and you are going to be using tiles, because within the software as well, within Estimator Express, you can even create a thatch roof if you wanted to. So if you're not going to be using tiles, you don't want to just write no, okay? You want it to still be calculated, but you can change the material, okay? So we can start going into the number of tile and half tiles required per meter of abutment flashings, and then per meter of the valley, per meter of the hip, okay? The insulation usage factor. We can go to the tiling details as well. So sand and cement point ridges, yes. Proprietary ridge fixing system, no, okay? Sand and cement point verges, no for the proprietary fixing system, and again for the point hips, and so on. And then last but not least, are you going to be priming and decorating the fascias and barge boards? Okay, because it may be made out of softwood, unknown, but if it's PVC, most likely not. And once I've hit finished, the software is then going to start giving me basically roof templates that I can start using. Now I can manipulate this, and I can add 2 or 3 different roofs onto this one extension to build the makeup of my actual roof. But as I know it's a lean-to, it's nice and easy, and it's down here. Okay, so if I click OK here, what I can then do is just follow the indications on the roof line. So indicate the wall line that the roof is on. So it's going to be this external wall. Indicate the outer corner of the building. It's going to be here. Indicate the inner corner. This is here. And then the length of the roof as well. So I can start dragging that down and pop that in there. And it's going to ask me whether I want to put in a flat ceiling, a vaulted ceiling, purlins, binders, and rainwater pipes. If I wanted to pop in a flat ceiling, okay, if I just say yes, I can just click yes to the flat ceiling. It's going to ask me about the joist centers, about my insulation, and about my plastering as well. Okay, and once I've hit finish, what I'll do is I'll just pop around the corners. And I'm not going to worry about a vaulted ceiling because I've already built my flat roof, and I don't want to worry about the purlins or the binders just right now, and I won't worry about the rainwater pipes. Okay, so now I've got my roof on there. So if I go to views in 3D, go to 3D preview, I can start seeing that it's a terrible pitch for a roof, but the software's automatically put in the gable for me as well. Okay, but you can start seeing that we've got everything we need, okay, for that extension. You can start looking at the likes of sockets, okay, and your plumbing. So I can go to the electrical here. If I drop down that, I can go for a double socket downstairs, and then I can just pop those in place as well. So I can start calculating for sockets as well. And if I wanted to go into the radiators, I can start placing a radiator in there as well. I can start running the pipe work It's entirely up to me what I want to do. Okay. Before we start dragging this into Estimator Express, does anybody have any questions about Plans Express right now? Okay, I did have one question about what other kind of roofs can you make, and what other kind of plans can you do with the software. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop down here to my screenshots a second. Okay, and you can start seeing the kind of work that you can start doing with the software. Okay, so you can see only minor bits, okay, such as a bungalow. All right, you can see that you can start doing the elevations yourself. All right, you can do that. You can go into a larger kind of house. Okay, so you can start seeing something's going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, these were done by myself. All right, and you can start seeing the kind of work you can start providing and producing with the software. Okay, another kind of a roof that you can build up with the software as well. Something that one of our clients did was something very elaborate. Okay, and you can provide and you can do this within our software. Okay, so you can start using it as an architectural package as well. All right, and this is all done within Plans Express. You've even got your roof lights in there as well, as you can see. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is save this onto my desktop. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the save button at the top. I'm going to name it Demonstration. I'm going to save it on my desktop. Hit save. I can close out of that software now. I'm going to open up onto Estimator Express. Now, this is the face of Estimator Express right now. We're on version 9.6.9. Okay, we're going to have another few versions coming in soon, and the updates are going to be there as well. Now, a brief overview of what this page means. Okay, you're going to have your settings, your manuals, your online video tutorials as well. So that's going to be all in the software for you. And it also links into the likes of YouTube, where we've got hundreds of videos to help you out. Okay, you can also see exactly what you can estimate. Okay, now with the versions of the software that you guys may have, okay, so we have 3 versions. We've got the standard, the total toolkit, and the ultimate. Now the ultimate is the all singing, all dancing package. Okay, that's going to do everything from a driveway up to a new build house and everything in between, including your basements and retaining walls, your advanced plumbing and heating, so that's underfloor heating systems, full boiler systems for a house, something that you'd probably, more likely than not, bring in a subcontractor for. Okay, it's also going to go into your commercial work. All right. So that's what the ultimate will give you. Okay, the standard edition will give you everything from driveway up to a new build house. Okay, but it won't go into those basements, into the likes of SIPs and ICF, and into the likes of commercial work as well. All right. And you can find all that information on our website. Now, first off, I'm going to go into my settings because I want to show you a few bits and pieces that you'd probably want to do before you start estimating the software. Now, the first off is my profit and inflation. Okay, so if I go here, what this is actually the breakdown of how you want to make profit on top of your labor, your plant, your material, your subcontractor, and your sundry items. Now, it's going to be in the a standard in the software at 30%. Okay, going from there, you can go into the inflation aspect. Okay, so the inflation is going to cover you over 13 weeks, over 5 weeks, depending on how long you want it to run. Okay, but we've got it in there at 5% over 13 weeks to show the basically how the trend of the market usually goes. Apparently, materials are at an all-time high at the moment. Okay, so they might be a little bit higher. You may put that over 10% over the course of a few weeks. Okay, but this is to cover you for a business expense, not a personal one, because the last thing you want to do is be out of pocket by the time you should be making your profit. Okay, just so you can be aware of that. And then what we've also got as well is my price books. Okay, this is where you're going to have all your prices. We link into the likes of Jewson's, Travis, TradePoint, Keyline, okay, Graham's, we link into a lot of merchants, usually the ones that you actually work with as well. And if you don't work with any of those, what we can do is we can still help you manipulate the prices for your merchant and the prices you're paying. So don't worry about that. Okay. But if I go into my price books and go to the master price book, which you'll all have, I can start seeing, I can look at the labor, the material, the plant, the subcontractor, and the sundry items. So first off, labor, click select. And what you're going to have is a list of laborers on the left-hand side. Now, as you can see, I give a few demonstrations, so you're going to see a lot of bricklayers. Okay, doesn't mean we work with every one of them. Now, this is a lot of blue to look at. Okay, so what you can do is we've got this filters tab at the top of the screen. We can go with the highlight selected line, and we can start seeing exactly where we started off, say with bricklayer Stan, to when we last changed this price. Now, to change any prices within the software, it's nice and easy. It's a nice double click, okay, just like you would do with any other PC. Okay, so if I go to bricklayer up at the top, where we've got them at £28 an hour, okay, I can just double click that there. We've got the screen in front of me, and it says, with a nice little pound sign, 28. Okay, so if I wanted to change that to say £35.50, I can do that. Delivery and payment, that means he's going to work and get paid at the end of every week. Okay, so we know he's not going to be out of pocket. All right. You may have work and then delivery at 2 weeks, at payment at 2 weeks. Okay, so he works a week in hand. All right, it's entirely up to you how you run your business. And then you've got whether they're going to be VAT registered or not. Okay, because if you're going to be paying tax on your employees, again, definitely worthwhile you sticking that VAT in there so you don't get stung too much. Okay, click OK. And now that £28 is going to change to £35.50. Okay, nice and simple. But what we can also see by the time we get over here, we can start looking at August 16th, 2017. So say you've done all your prices in the middle of winter and you've got to summer and you feel like you're coming out of pocket a little bit. It may be because your bricklayers have stuck their prices up because it's in the middle of summer. They get to pick and choose their work now. Okay, so you're paying a higher premium for that. So you should definitely make sure that these are up to date as much as possible. All right, to create a brand new bricklayer, it's nice and simple again. All it is like creating a new folder on your software. Okay, so I can right click and just go new resource, and I've got bricklayer there. Okay, I'm just going to use one of the names that we've got for the attendees. Okay, I've got bricklayer Lee. All right, and we've got the unit cost. Lee's just had a lovely pay rise of £40 an hour. Okay, he's making about £400 a day. Well, no, it's about £320 a day, sorry. Okay, and then he's going to get paid every week with a 20% VAT register as well. Click OK. Now we've got Lee in the software as well. Oh, at £40 an hour. Okay, the software is going to work off of your hourly schedule, and your hourly day is going to be 8 hours. Okay, that's how the software is going to calculate it for you. All right, and you can tweak this within the software to change plasterers for square meterage, okay, and all sorts. Okay, but right now I just want you to have your base price here. Okay. Going from labor into material, okay, you don't have to jump out and jump back in again. We've got these two drop-down boxes at the top of the screen. Okay, I can hit that drop-down box there, and I can go into material. All right, so now I can start seeing all the materials in the software. Now, from the very beginning, you're going to have about 3,000, 4,000 materials in the software to make sure that your software doesn't come to a complete halt. Okay, however, with Jusins, Travis, TradePoint, you're going to have access to about 250,000 materials. Okay, again, we don't stick all those into your software because your computer will grind to a halt and you wouldn't like us very much. So that's where we have this web catalog and download prices button. So every time that you turn on the software, it's definitely worthwhile hitting that download prices button so you'll have the up-to-date prices, okay, to that very day. But with the web catalog, you may have a client that wants a French tile that you can only find in Travis Perkins, okay, and you may have to drag that in from the Travis Perkins website. So that gives you the luxury of being able to do that. Okay. You can go to specific materials in this as well with the other drop-down box at the top of the screen. So where we've got all at the moment, showing as many of them as we can start going to the likes of bricks. Okay. So we can start showing all the bricks in the software. Again, we've just got facing bricks, reclaimed bricks, and we've got your bath brick and your engineering brick in there as well. Okay. So we've got a few that are quite known about. What you can do is you can create your own brick, exactly the same as creating your laborer, by just selecting and right-clicking and building in a new brick. Okay. But you can also start changing your supplies. You can create your own suppliers. So as you can see, I've got the Lego store here. Okay, trying to be as professional as I can. And then you've got so-and-so and Bath Merchants. Okay, so you can see CC Merchant, Rockies, things like this. Okay, depending on where you work or where you get your materials from anyway. Going from here, all right, what you can also do is you can manipulate the wastage. Okay, you can even manipulate the prices, the discount. It's entirely up to you. And what the software is going to do is on pretty much every material, except for your major ones like a boiler, okay, it's going to grant you wastage within that as well. Okay, and what I mean by that is that the software is not going to allow you to calculate for the perfect wall, okay, because you would never do that. Because bricks will break, you'd lose something, and your wall would never be built up. So the software is going to then add 7.5% on top of that. So for every 1,000 bricks that you need, the software is going to order 75 more. Okay. However, you can manipulate that to maybe for every 1,000 bricks you need, you want to have 100 more. Okay. And by doing that, you just go to the mass editing tools, and you can take complete control over this. Okay. So if I click that and go to edit wastage, that column then becomes white, and I can change that to say 10%. And if any of you have used Excel in the past, it gives you a little box in the bottom right-hand corner, turns it into a tiny little plus sign, and you can just drag that all the way to the bottom. So now all my bricks are at 10% wastage. So for every 100 bricks that I need, for every 100 bricks that I'm going to order 10 more. Okay, and vice versa going upwards as well. Last but not least, what I want to show you is the plant. Now, the reason I want to show you plant is because it's going to bring in that shovel, that wheelbarrow, okay? Like I said, you're going to sooner or later break them, steal them, lose them, and so things are going to happen to you. Materials, it happens up and down the UK all the time, okay? So in case of that terrible emergency, we've got this in there to cover you for your overheads. Now, saying £6 for the use of a shovel, it's not going to say every time that you're going to use your shovel, you're going to charge the client £6, because if it did and you can get away with that, you'd be making thousands. Okay, so what you want to be able to do is just to cover it in case something goes wrong. So the software is going to then put it in there at about 7 or 8 pence a time. Over the course of the job, it may charge it about £2 for the use of your shovel over the course of a job. Okay, you don't have to select those. That software is going to put that in for you in the background. Okay, so it's all going to be worked out for you in the long run. Okay, but you've got that for your shovel, your dust sheets, your wheelbarrow. Okay, and it goes on. The software is also going to ask you questions about the likes of driving, okay, your mileage, or how much you're going to be paying for petrol. Are you going to be paying for parking as well? Is there going to be a RPZ, your residential parking zones? All right, your deliveries. How much do your merchants charge for delivery of the of plant of material as well, if they do that? But what you've also got within plant are the likes of your JCB diggers and your drivers for a day. So you've got a little bit of work in there as well. Now, the software's got that job in there at £400 a day. Now, if you're charging £300 a day and you need them for 5 days, you're going to be charging your client £500 more than what you really want to. So it's definitely worthwhile you just going through this list and making sure that a few of them are tweaked to what you're actually paying, so you don't burn yourself in the long run. Okay. Just going to close that. Close again. Now, to go into an estimate, you go to My Estimates in the top left-hand corner. Okay. And then what you're going to have is this page. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what it means. Down the left-hand side, you're going to have the name of your client, whether it's their name or it's going to be their address. Okay, depending on how you want it to be referenced. You're going to have the job number. It's going to go from 1 until XL finishes. So you're looking at the, I wouldn't even want to know when it ends. Okay. Description of the job, whether it's going to be an extension and renovation, extension, 5-bedroom house, just a renovation on its own. You've got the likes of bungalows in there. We've given you a set map of the names you can choose, but you can type in whatever you want as well. As you can see, I've got the likes of demo house and a dog's home in there as well. So you can type in whatever you want, but it's nice to know that you don't have to type if you don't want to. You've got the cost of the job excluding profit and VAT. Okay. Then you've got the cost of the job including profit, but excluding VAT. Okay, sorry. In this column, you've got the comments section. Now, what this is, okay, it's a nice handy tool because nature of the beast, when you're going to be estimating, it's going to be late at night. Okay, so you're going to be looking at making a few mistakes here or there. Okay, it's just what happens. You're only human. Okay, so what you can do is at the very end of your day, you can just write in a little box at the bottom of the screen the likes of needs laminate flooring, look at the lintels, plumbing needs reviewing, something like that. Okay, just something that it's just gonna tweak it for you. Just the next day you go in, you're gonna go, right, I remember. Okay, brilliant. I'll just check that over there before I just go on to anything else. It's going to tell you the last time you opened the job. So if you had a very irritating job that you haven't looked at for a very long time, you can go back and go, Jesus, I haven't looked at that since March. In this case, that would be a terrible business decision not to do that for 5 months. But for the example, if you hadn't looked at it for, say, 3 or 4 weeks, you might want to get back on that, make sure that the job's still going to be available for you to capitalize on. And then you've also got the last time the bar chart was updated as well. The software, like we said at the very beginning, is going to give you a labor schedule. It's going to tell you how long it's going to take. Okay, so it's definitely worthwhile you being able to have a look at that to see when you're going to be changing, if you are going to be rained off, okay, to give you a better understanding of when you're going to be finishing. Because the last thing you want to do is overlap on your gangs, overlap on your men as well, because you can't have them in 2 places at once, no matter how much you try. Okay, and then the last one is the status of the job, whether it's completed, whether it's an estimate in progress, awaiting customer reply, unsuccessful estimates. Okay. What I like about this column more than anything else, I do believe, personally, I think it's one of the best columns in this list, is because it gives you an understanding of what you're winning against, okay, and what you're actually winning and losing. And what I mean by that is if I asked you how many estimates you've done over the course of a year, okay, you'd probably be able to say 300-400, which is quite normal for a business owner. Now, if you were to do 300-400 estimates, I asked you every one that you've won, what were they? You'd probably say, mostly extensions. You wouldn't be able to give me an exact figure. Again, if I asked you for what kind of the ones have you lost, that would be anything from maintenance to renovation to new build houses. Okay, the list would be vast. So what the software will grant you, if you wanted it to, is to show you exactly what you're winning and exactly what you're losing. And you can do that by just popping up to the top to this drop-down box. Okay, so with that, if I wanted to see exactly what I've completed, what I've won, and I know it's an array of demonstrations here, but if you had nothing but 3-bedroom houses, okay, with the occasional extension in there, but then you went to unsuccessful estimates and you saw the extensions and nothing but extensions, you'd probably say, as a business, right, we should stop focusing on extensions because that's where we're making money and wasting time estimating for those. Because if each extension takes me 2-3 hours and a house takes me 6, for every 2 extensions that I've lost, I could have won 1 house. Okay, so it's definitely worthwhile you having a look into this, keeping on track of it as well. Okay, so it's always nice to know. Plus, if you have a board and you have people that want to ask these kind of questions, okay, within a business, it's very handy for you to be able to print off and just be able to go, okay, then yeah, this is what we're winning, this is what we're not winning. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're now going to create the actual estimate. So we're going to go up to the top where we've got this big plus button, and then we're going to be given 4 options. Okay, so first off, you've got the quick quote job template at the top, so we can create a nice, quick, fast template. Okay, you've got your quick quote custom templates. These are for your renovations, those intricate jobs that may be a little bit more bespoke. Then you've got the Plans Express import, what we've just done. Okay, and last but not least, you've got the custom estimate of the estimating calculators. Now, for those of you that have seen the software in the past, maybe trialed the software a few years ago, this is how the old software used to work. Now, a lot of people still like to use this, okay, because unbeknown to me, they just like how it works and they were confident with it. But now we've got a lot faster, we've got a lot sleeker, and we've got a lot easier, okay, and that's what we like. So with the Plans Express import for the rapid takeoff, I can click that there, and it's just going to ask me what job do I want to do. So I've got my demonstration here. I can click open, and it's got a terrible little picture of it looks like a Finland flag, okay? That is actually my extension in there, okay? So what I want to do is I want to give it, well, I can give it the customer address, okay? So I can click here, and I can just name him Mr. Jones, and he's going to be living on 123 Fleet Street. Now, I don't want to write this out twice for the likes of customer address and site address. If they are the same place, all you've got to do is just hit copy details to site address, update, and it will update it all for you, okay? Which is quite handy. we can go job name, Mr. Jones's extension, job description, it's going to be an extension. Now we've got our prices from our master price book. That's going to include Jusins, Travis, TradePoint, and so on. Workbooks, we've already drawn everything up, so we can just leave that there. And then we're going to be asked about the chart type. So when are we going to be starting the actual job? So it's going to be starting in about 4 weeks. So we've got the 16th here. So if I go to the 6th, okay, that gives me about 4 weeks. And then the chart type, I'm just going to call it a small extension. Okay. Specification of the job. Okay, specification are the mixture of materials you're going to be using from the very beginning. Now, you can manipulate this to, well, your end really. It's entirely up to you. So the software will allow you to pre-select certain materials on particular jobs. So if you use a specific insulation for extensions, okay, in a certain area, what you can do is you can create that within your specification you've got given. Okay, from the very beginning, you can create your own. You've got extension, new build, Partel specification, renovation, timber frame, and site fabricated timber frame as well. So it just means that from the very beginning, once you click that, you're going to have a particular build in mind. Okay, and it's going to pre-select your laborers for you for that particular job and your materials as well. It's definitely something, if you ever wanted to go into it, okay, the tech team are very good at helping you with this as well and explaining it a lot better than a salesperson could. Okay. So I'm going to go with the extension specification. But what I'm also going to do as well is I'm going to help my estimate get a price a lot quicker as well by going into the mini specs. And how I'm going to do that is by selecting the cost of the brick from the very beginning. So I'm just going to choose a 70p brick. The roof tiling, okay, I'm going to use a slate tile this time. Depending on the kind of roof guttering I'm going to be using, okay, I could have plastic, cast iron, aluminium, zinc, depending on the build. Okay, so I'm just going to use zinc for the now. Fascia, barge board, and soffits to sloped roofs. I know I have a sloped roof, and I know it's going to be UPVC. Okay, and then you've got the likes of decoration. Now, I'm going to leave that same specification because I've done the import and I've already calculated that I am going to be, in fact, doing the decoration. So I can leave that. Okay. And the last but not least, before I create my estimate, what I want to do is I just want to make sure that my profit and my inflation are correct. So I've clicked that there. I've got that template from the very beginning that I set, okay, when I went into Estimator Express. Now, what you can do is if you want, for a particular client, because you think they can make it, they can afford a little bit more, you can change that to say 40%.
And you can print off multiple quotes saying at 40%, 35%, 30%. Okay, and you'll be able to do exactly what you want with your client. You'll be able to haggle that price and be a little bit more competitive. Okay, no matter what, if you're at a 30% base, that way then you can always go forward. Now, I've just tried to create my estimate. It's come up a little bit wrong, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that little apostrophe out of there. Okay, and look. Nice and simple. So sometimes it does play silly buggers, but to be totally honest with you, it will work pretty much straight off the bat. Okay, and from here, what you can now see is the software pulling in the import. Okay, so just give her a matter of time. Depending on the size of the actual job, you might be able to get away and make yourself a cup of tea. But to be totally honest with you, the software is now pretty quick, so it should work out in the long run for you, which is quite handy and nice. Okay, and as you can see, the walls have been pulled in, the electrical sundry has been pulled in as well. Okay, so it's quite handy and nice to know that it's pulling up everything that you've actually put onto that drawing from earlier. Okay, you can start seeing the import from the roof as well now, and so on. Okay, and now we have a full import.
Our quote that we've drawn up within Plans Express. So we can start seeing that we've got our brick and block cavity walls, our cut roof, our floor slab, patio doors, okay, metal stub partition as well. Okay, so we've got all of that in place. All right, so do we have a question? Perfect. So we can start seeing exactly how this is being used through the planning to the estimating software. Okay, So what we can start doing as well is we can start manipulating materials on this. So if I wanted to change any materials within the brick and block cavity wall, I can just double click brick and block cavity wall, go into the external walls, and I can see the breakdown of the 3 walls that I've drawn, not that 4th one that we've set as non-estimated. Okay. What we can do here as well is we can start seeing the button that says View Resources Output. So if I click that one there, that's a fancy word for saying materials used. Okay, so we can start seeing the materials that are being used within this wall. So we've got everything from your ready mix concrete to your facing bricks, your engineering bricks as well, to your blue circle mastercrete original cement for the footings. Okay, and if you wanted to change any of this, all you've got to do is double click, which is quite handy. Okay, so if I go to facing bricks above DPC, we've got a wall that's £6,997 right now. If I were to double click that and change that brick for, say, a 40p brick, the only question the software is going to ask me is how many of those bricks do you use per square meter? Okay, and it's usually about 60. So if I click OK, that price has now gone down to £6,366. So the price has dropped quite vastly. Okay, and this is what the software is going to do. It's constantly going to be doing these calculations behind you. It's going to build up these material costs for you as well, and the order schedules that you're going to need them for. But once you're happy with that, you can click back. You can click close. Close again. Is this work but now complete? Yes, it is. And then you can go on to changing any other materials as well. Okay, and that's all you do with the rapid takeoff and drag it into Estimator Express. You can then start using this page to start adding in other workbooks as well. Okay, so you can start going into, say, adding more stairs or windows or doors, depending on how you want it to look. All right. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding in a quick quote dimension as well, to start adding in, say, another part of the job. So you can start seeing how quick quote works alongside this software. So to click this button, it's going to say, please note that any changes you have made to the workbooks in this estimate, which are needed for the import, will be lost. Any workbooks you have added manually on the screen for various items will not be affected by the import. Okay, do I wish to continue? Yes, I do. And we can start seeing the types of jobs that I can start doing with the software. So if I just wanted to keep this as a small apex roof single story extension, I can bring that in there. If I deselect all, I can say what I do want to estimate for are the electrics, the external walls, an internal door, prelims, a roof, a structural opening as well, and say windows. Okay, we can stick some windows in there. So once I'm happy with that, I'll stick a fitting out in there as well. Click OK, and then what we can start seeing is how we're going to estimate this extension. Now, I've got this length. Okay, I'm just going to change that to 2 meters, and I'm going to change this to 3 meters. I'm going to make it quite a small porch. Okay. Then what the software is going to ask me are very quick questions of saying, okay, are you going to allow for the plastering? Yes. Allow for the decorating? Yes. Allow for the internal finishing to the external walls? Yes, which is that wall there. Decorate fascias and soffits. If it's going to be a no, I can just untick it. And then it's got the relevant information about the walls. And then it's going to ask me what kind of a wall am I going to build. Now, it could be a brick and block cavity wall, or I can change it altogether for a external cavity wall. So I've got block and block. Okay. And then I can say, okay, it's going to be completed. It's not going to ask me for the dimensions of the roof because it already knows it. It's 2 meters by 3 meters. So it's just going to ask me, okay, then am I going to have a plastered insulate to the flat ceiling? Or is it going to be plaster to rafters or so on? I'm just going to leave it as internal finishes like that. I can select whether it's going to be a cut roof or a truss roof. Okay. Any structural openings that I might be building as well. Okay, so what I can do is I can just pop in to existing walls. Okay, we can start looking at, say, a small structural opening. I'm just going to change that to 2 meters by 2.1 meters. Are pad stones required? Yes or no? Number of bricks or blocks required? None. Number of slates required for packing? 4. Bulking factor of the spoil is going to be 2 because it's going to be knocking out a wall. Okay. Wall thicknesses, if opening form to calculate spoil, it's going to be a thickness of the wall is going to be 0.3. Okay. And then, are you going to be plastering and decorating it? Yes, I am. Click finish. I'm going to have one of them. Okay. Existing connecting wall between main extension. Okay. Am I going to have windows? Yes, I am. I can start selecting my individual windows, or I can start going from a Crystal Direct, which is a UPVC, PVCU company, sorry. And what I can do is with this, I can start manipulating the colors and all sorts. So if I went with the color first, I wanted it to be, say, black-brown. And I wanted the range to be, oh, not the range, I'll go with the style. I want the style to look a little bit more like this. So I've now got my style. If I went with the height, okay, and now I've gone down to 2 windows, and I'll just give it the top one. Okay, the U value is going to be 1.4. Is 1.1 better than 1.4? I can't remember. I'm just going to choose 1.1 because I think it's the lower the U value, the better. And hit select. It's going to pre-select the lintel for me, which is handy, and then the cavity closes as well. And once I've hit select and finish, it's going to ask me, okay, how many do I want? I want 2 of them because it's going to go either side. And do I want a top treatment and a bottom treatment as well? And I can say yes, I'm going to need a architectural end. Okay. This one here. And then a bottom treatment as well. I'm going to have a seal for it as well. Oh. So I've got that in there as well now. And then I can hit completed, and it will start costing that up. I don't want to worry about an internal door because I remember I've just built an opening. Any electrics that are going to be needed. Okay, so I can start adding in workbooks, or I can add in a group of items. Okay, so I can easily say, okay, then this is going to be a all right, hit select, and what it's going to do is going to add in for me internal lighting, ceiling rows, light switches, external lighting for doorbell, a front door light, electrical sockets, double sockets downstairs, and general electrical installations for smoke alarms as well. So we've got all of that in there. Okay, I click completed, and it's just done the calculations for the electrics for me. Okay, I didn't have to do anything more than that. If I was going to be fitting out this room as well, I can add in a ceramic floor tiling, ceramic wall tiling, commercial carpeting, engineered wood flooring. If I want to be using that, I've got vinyl flooring, wood laminate flooring. So if I were to choose wood laminate flooring, I can start adding in the laminate floor dimensions as well. Okay. So I can start saying it's going to be 3 meters by 2 meters or so and so. Fit the underlay. And then I've got my underlay as well. Then I can start looking at the prelims and the sundries also. Okay, so add workbooks. I can go in with the cleaning, roofing sundries, scaffolding if I'm going to be using scaffolding, site establishment, and so on, travel costs if I need to as well. But for the benefit, I'm just going to leave that out. And once I've hit that and I've clicked create quote, what's going to happen is that the software is then going to start building on that porch onto my quote as well. Okay, you can start seeing it's being added in here. Whilst that's loading in, does anybody have any questions about the quick quote? Does it all link into live prices? Yes, it does. So you will look at the likes of Juicens, Travis, TradePoint, Keyline. We also track the prices up and down the country as well through our HBXL price tracker. So what we can do is we can also help link in to merchants that you work with as well. We can price match and such. Okay, we can make sure that you are going to be going off of prices that you are paying. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So what we can start doing is we can start seeing how that quick quote has now been added into our software. Okay, into our quote, sorry. And you can do this again and again and again, depending on how many times you wanted to do that. Okay. So you've not only got your brick and block cavity wall here, but you've got your external cavity block wall for the extension for the porch. Okay. You've also got your roof, and as well your apex roof and your planned express cut roof. So you can see the differences in prices as well, depending on the sizes that you're going to be using. Now, what you can then do from here is you can start looking at the chart. Okay, so you can start seeing how long the job's going to take you as well. So if I were to choose chart, this is an overall job for an extension. Okay, everything from design phase all the way through to completion. Now, we all know that I have not estimated for all of this, so I can just click close. And if I just go remove unused build phases, this is what mine looks like. It's going to look like more likely. Okay. What I can also do is I can manipulate this by editing the bar chart by going to the top left-hand corner and hitting that button. If I just drag those foundations all the way back and then hit Cascade, it will drag everything back for me, and then I can refresh it to stretch it along. Okay, so we can start seeing with this extension and that porch, we're going to be finishing around about the 29th of November. Okay, so it's going to be about a 3-month job. Okay, which is about right for an extension, depending on where you are in the country anyway. If I close that, I can start going into the report section. All right, and what I can do is I can start seeing the likes of the cash flow over the course of the job. What am I going to be paying on materials and labor over the course of the coming weeks? So if I were to double click that one there, I'd be able to see over the coming weeks, this is what I'm paying on these dates. So on the 13th, 14th, and the 15th, I'll be paying the likes of close to £1,500 on labor and material. Okay, over that week there, and then so on from the 20th, the 27th, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Okay, so you can see how it's accumulating it together. You can see exactly what you're going to be spending your money on as well. So you can drag in the build phase. So again, it's Excel, it's all drag and drop. So you can start seeing the foundations, the footings, the oversight and slabbing. Okay, you start seeing exactly what money is going to be going out of your account. Up to the amount of £29,949. On the flip side, it's always worthwhile to see exactly what you're going to be making over the course of the job, because if you were able to fire out a nice estimate in 45 minutes, an hour, okay, through quick quote for a client, okay, just to see exactly how much it would cost you roughly and how much you're going to be making, you can see within the profit forecast that over the course of the next 3 months, I'm going to be making £8,984. Okay, that to me over 3 months is roughly about £3,000 a month on top of what I'm making as a labourer in there as well as a tradesman. So I think as a business, £3,000 a month on top of what you're making personally isn't too bad for one job running at a time. But if you had 2 jobs, say 3 jobs running at a time on similar prices, you're looking at closer to £9,000, £10,000 a month you're making as predominant profit. Okay, which is definitely the worthwhile numbers to see, and it's always good to know what you're going to be making over the course of the next few months as well, so you can plan better for maybe business expansion and such. Okay, this will also help you with loans and such with the bank. So you can also close that and start looking at the material order schedule as well and the materials used. So a lot of the time, a good builder will be able to look at a job and say, okay, it's going to cost about this much. Okay, but it's gathering all the material information and that as well. That will take you the long time. Okay, so the software, it's known from the very beginning, the materials that you've selected. So the software is then going to start generating this for you. So it's going to tell you exactly what materials you're going to need for your brickwork shell. Okay, how much each individual material costs. Okay, and how you buy them in as well. So the units, so whether it's each meter square, okay, bag, if you're going to be using a ballast bulk bag or something, okay. Software's then going to tell you exactly how many you're going to need for the quantity needed, what your wastage is going to be, so what your order quantity was going to have to be. So, okay, so if we look at these facing bricks, okay, software's telling me that I'm going to need 1,896, so I'm going to have to order 95 more. So my order quantity is going to be 1,990 bricks, which is going to be quite handy for me. Okay, so I've got the cover of wastage. Software's also going to tell you what the item cost is going to be before wastage, what the wastage cost is going to be, and what your total cost is going to be. The unfortunate thing is if you go down to the very bottom of this list, it's going to give you a nice lump sum price of what your wastage is over the course of the job. You probably wouldn't want to see that. Okay, so try and stay away from that one. But you can also drop in product codes. So going into the question of does it link into live prices? Yes, it does. It can link into your live merchants as well. And with that, and with the product codes, you can drag and drop that one in there. So you can start seeing the relevant product code for your particular client as well, for your merchant. So you'll have Juicens, Travis, TradePoint. You'll have their product codes in there. Okay, so you'll be able to see, and you'll be able to cut this up. You'll be able to export it to Excel, hand it over to your client, hand it over to your merchants. So ordering materials is going to be a lot easier as well, and a lot more efficient for you. Saves you a lot of time. We'll close that. And you want to see the last thing that you want to be handing over to your client, okay, the customer quote. So if I go quote wizard by build phase, it's going to then start generating the quote for me. Now, this looks quite tame and blank. What you can do is you can actually start adding in different pieces as well. You can add in a phase total if you want to. So you can have each phase total detailed and priced. You can add in pictures. So you can show your client exactly what you're going to be doing and what a particular footing kind of looks like, okay? You can also add in your sales price, including inflation. So you've got your £402 there. It's now gone up to £421. You can, if you want, show key resources. So the likes of engineering bricks and such. This is what you're going to be using to build the house. Or you can show all resources. So you can even show the cement that you're going to be using. With this, you can, again, if you wanted to, pop in the order quantities. You can even change these to customer-friendly descriptions. And what I mean by that is you can just say, okay, then that blue circle Mastercrete original cement is just cement. Okay, so depending on the client and how you want your quote to look, is that. Okay, you get to manipulate it however you want. But for the benefit of the demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show everything. Okay, but we give you the information. You get to choose whether you want to use it or not. On the first time you do create an estimate, okay, with this drop-down box, you can go to the resources in quote. So you can change that material, labor, and plant to just a labor-only quote if you wanted to, depending on what you're going to be doing. You've also got the luxury of being able to change the likes of the logos in there. Okay, you can change your introductory paragraph, your terms and conditions. You can stick those in. You've got your company, if you're going to be using headers, footers, printing on letter-headed paper, any affiliations that you have, you can stick those all on the page. Okay. You can even change the pictures. So you can take a photo of footings for a previous job as well, and you can have that all sorted. Okay. And once you hit print, it's going to add 20% on there. You can give that free if you wanted to. You can hit OK, and the software is going to then generate the actual quote for you. Okay, so what we've got here is if I just zoom in a little bit, you'll see that the extension is from Mr. Jones at 123 Fleet Street. You'll have your introductory logo as well, something that looks a little bit nicer than this. You'll have your headers, your footers, your introductory statement. We've written one for you, but you can add in your own. It's entirely fine. And then you're going to have details about the job, and it's going to go in ascending order of how the job's going to work as well. So you've got your foundations, okay, to your footings. You've got the description, a picture. You've got all the details as well. You don't have to show all of this. You can delete this. It's entirely up to you what you want to show. It's completely manipulative from this point as well. Okay, so if I wanted to just delete this, okay, I can delete that column by just highlighting and deleting. I can delete this picture. I can get rid of all this writing as well if I wanted to. Okay, it's entirely up to me how I want my quote to look. But then you go from your footings to your oversight and slabbing, your brickwork shell, your roof structures, your structural openings, roof tiling, electrical first fix, joinery first fix, plastering, electrical second fix, okay, and then joinery second fix. Software is then going to go to your internal fitting out, internal decorations as well, and the external decorations. So for my block and block cavity wall, okay, we've got to render that wall. And at the very end, you're going to have your completion and your total cost, including VAT and excluding VAT, okay. Once your client's had a look at it and they've gone, oh, fantastic, brilliant, okay, I'm going to choose you. Okay, it never works like that, but it's always nice to dream. Okay, what you can do is you'll hand them over the final acceptance of estimate and variation sheet. So there's 2 of them printed off, okay, 2 with every quote, 1 for you and them to sign, and again for 1 and you and them to sign. And the reason we have that there is because that way then they can't come back at you and ask for the ceramic dolphin on top of the garage that you never quoted for from the very beginning. But at least if they've agreed to the price, they should pay you, and you'd have their signature as well. All right. And then last but not least, you've got your terms and conditions in there as well. All right. And that is Estimator Express. Okay, do we have any questions? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up the HBXL website. I'm just going to go on products a second, go for more information. And what you can do is on this page, you can actually see checkout, what you can actually price up with an Estimator Express. Okay, so you can start seeing exactly what the software versions cost for as well. So you've got the extensions, new buildings, apartments and flats, loft conversions, renovations, internal and external, maintenance and alterations, groundwork, so your footings, foundations, slabs, paving, driveways, internal and external walls as well, brick and block, timber frame, roofing, including dormers and roof windows, windows and doors, internal and external, conservatories as well, structural openings, as you saw, your basic domestic electrics, as you saw, plastering, painting and decorating, kitchens and bathrooms, so that's rip out and refit. You've got your basic landscaping in there as well, subcontract quotations, basic domestic plumbing and heating as well. Where the standard edition and the total toolkit stop and the ultimate continues, again, like I said, you're going to have the advanced plumbing and heating, the new build basements and retaining walls, office refits and shop refits. Okay, that's what you don't get with the standard and the total toolkit. What you then have is all 3 packages will help you generate that final quote. Okay, you'll have all those reports in there. You don't have any of those taken away. We have live material price links to Jewson's, Travis, Graham's, Keyline, TradePoint, and more. Okay, and that library gets bigger and bigger. You've got that Gantt chart and labor schedules, so the job's going to tell you how long it's going to take. Variation and amendment tool, so you know every time that you make an amendment or a change, the software is going to be constantly calculating it behind you, so you don't have to worry about that. You can import and export out of Microsoft Word and Excel, as you just saw. You can back up to a server, okay, or a cloud, so a Dropbox. So if you have it on 2 or more computers, you can start doing that as well. Where the standard edition stops and the total toolkit continues with the ultimate, okay, is something that we have called My Projects. If you had a client that wanted an extension and a renovation done within a house, okay, but they didn't know whether they can afford just one or both. You can do both quotes and combine the reports, okay? So it's entirely up to you. You can combine it all into one job as well, and that's what My Projects allows you to do. Where the Total Toolkit stops and the Ultimate continues on after that is the Quick Quote plugin. So you saw that quick quote with what we saw, okay? The Stage Payment Generation kit tool as well, so you can start generating a nice stage payment for your client as well within a matter of clicks. And then you've also got the Invoice Generation tool as well. So that nice stage payment calculator is here. So if I were to click that, and I wanted to get paid, say, every 5 days, okay, or every week, or after a build phase, it's entirely up to me, really. So I'll just say I want the interim bill period to be every 5 days, which is going to be every Monday to Friday. It's not going to count Saturday or Sunday as work days, okay? I'm going to stick in my sales price, including inflation. My start date is going to be on the 6th of September. I hit print, and in 3 or 4 clicks, what I've done is I've generated this nice payment schedule for my client, okay? And that's taken me 4 clicks. That may take you, after calculating and working everything out, a few good hours, okay? Or a good hour, all right? So it's just nice. It's the lazy man's tool. I think it's very handy. Okay, so you do get that. You don't have to buy the Ultimate to get all the Ultimate features, okay? You can upgrade certain bits at a later date. So just say you only needed the standard edition, but you fancied having this, or you fancied having this and say basements, you can buy that standard edition with this and the basements as well. We just add the extra prices on, okay, so for what you would buy it for individually, okay? So you do have that as well. Does anybody have any questions up to this point? Okay. Can you change the day lengths for certain laborers? Yes, you can. Okay, so you can have, say, 10 hours for brickies and 8 hours for the rest. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I take you don't like brickies very much. Does anybody else have any questions? So today what we saw was the rapid takeoff and estimating kit. Okay, so this is what you saw today. I'll leave it a little while, so if anybody else has any questions, we can answer them before we call it a night. Brilliant. Well, if that's all the questions for this evening, thank you, Gordon. Okay, what we can do is we can always get in contact over the next couple of days, okay, and answer any of your questions. All right, there will be deals as you were attendees for the software demonstration as well. But thank you ever so much, and I hope you have a very good evening. Thank you.